All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rifts Bionic Sourcebook. Now, unlike the other world books and such, there's no plot here, there's no grand campaign, none of that. All of this basically replaces the cybernetics and bionics in the main book. Now, I'm going to get into why it should replace and not coexist after this.
We believe that role-playing games should take place in fantastic worlds. The focus of the game should be on role-playing and having a good time. The core values of #RPGate and any good tabletop group are escapism, not representation, entertainment over activism, and natural, organic inclusion, not forced diversity. The charity we support is the Wounded Warrior Project, a national, nonpartisan organization whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. Please refer to the description below for the link to where you can make your hopefully tax-deductible donation. Join us Thursday and Saturday evenings on twitch.tv/Legion of Myth to watch Heathen Dog and his team of dirty casuals play multiplayer games for your mockery and enjoyment. Here on our YouTube channel, you can watch these game-related segments live every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time, or check out the Friday Night Chill stream where our panel of guests opine, comment, and editorialize on the TTRPG hobby as a whole. Please like this video and leave a comment to appease the algorithm gods. Share this video on your favorite social media platforms to help us peer out of the shadows cast over us. And if you have not done so already, please subscribe to Legion of Myth for more tabletop RPG goodness. Really, you starred that one?
Yeah, I wanted it to. Anyway, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about what are cybernetics and bionics, the history of it, how it survived the dark ages after the cataclysm. And then we're going to talk about some of the bionics in this book: medical bionics, cosmetic or medical cybernetics, medical or cosmetic cybernetics, and bionics themselves. And there is a difference between them, and we're going to find that out just now. So right now we're going to go to...
I'm really interested in this book because I have it. And as Heathen Dog's mentioned a few times, when I play Rifts, I tend to play Borgs, but I've never used this book before. So it's going to be... He's actually introducing it to me, even though I have it.
There you go. Now, why did they make the Bionic Sword? Why did Kevin okay this? I mean, there's bionics and cybernetics. There's cybernetics in the main book that is pretty extensive, right? I mean, especially in the Ultimate Edition. Well, there was a lot of stuff that was supposed to go into the Game Master Guide, and they just didn't have space for it. They didn't want to throw it away because it was all useful stuff, so they made this book. Now, what I recommend is that you do not use this book as a supplement to the bionics in the main book or cybernetics in the main book. Use this as a replacement. Why? Well, Palladium has what everyone recognizes as a power creep problem as the years go by. If you look at a book that came out 20 years ago and look at a book that came out 5 years ago, most of the time you're going to find lots of places in it where it's a lot more powerful today than the book 20 years ago. Well, you can have that problem here as well. Even though the cybernetics or bionics is seemingly a reprint, it's going to be either cheaper, it's going to do more things, or it's going to do things better. The targeting eye is going to be a better targeting eye. It's going to be a cheaper targeting eye. It's good. So do not let yourself run in that situation unawares, because I know you're not going to memorize exactly what every cybernetic system does, so you know exactly where to cut and paste this into your... No, just use this as a replacement. Once you have this book and you're going to use it for all cybernetics and bionics. Do not even use any from the main book. Now, historically, cybernetics wasn't really a thing until the golden age of humanity. So in the 20th century and the early 21st century, we had a semblance of cybernetic systems. We now, current day, have replacement arms and legs that move in a fashion that is like the original. Fair enough. But when the golden age of humanity hit, the latter part of the 21st century, is when cybernetic limbs universally became better than your regular limbs. Stronger, faster, more durable, able to hide stuff, including guns. You could do all of that now. And it seemed that every week or even sometimes every day, there was a new bionic or cybernetic breakthrough. If you want to categorize broadly enough, juicer and crazy conversions are cybernetic enhancements. The crazy has brain enhancements to unlock the potential of the body. Well, these are cybernetic systems implanting your brain to do that. The juicer variant, you're putting medical nanites in the person's body.
Oh, they include nanites? It's not just drugs? Okay, I didn't know that.
It's medical nanites constantly giving fraction of a second updates on the body's the body's state and what can and what drugs can and cannot be inserted at this second. That's how you get a juicer and not have him just explode like a giant meat balloon because you put a little too much adrenaline in there. Whoops. No, the medical nanites, like I said, every fraction of a second, they give back telemetry to the unit that handles the drugs.
Okay.
So they are cybernetic. Now, well, when the cataclysm happened and the Dark Ages came about, well, how did cybernetics survive? So many other technologies did not survive. How did cybernetics? Well, they were too damn useful. Too damn useful. A cybernetic arm has crushing strength of mega damage potential. A cybernetic arm does not need to be disinfected, does not get sick, doesn't do any of that. And when life and death is at most a few seconds away every moment of the day, anything will do, and cybernetics does the job, keeping people alive. So cybernetics and bionics were not lost because they were useful in this dark age type society for survival. And then, of course, you had the CyberDoc OCC that comes up. I'm going to talk about OCCs in the next video, but all of that survived because of utility. And in here, it gives availability of cybernetic systems based on the area of the world you are in. For example, if you are in if you are a coalition state citizen, medical cybernetic and cosmetic cybernetic is readily available to you. Combat cybernetics and bionics, no, illegal. But you go over to Kingston, and oh my God, it's a treasure trove. Japan, oh my God, Germany, woo! Anyone can get
getting there's a little bit of a problem.
They are fighting giant gargoyles, so they need all the help they can get. So whatever, right? So it depends on where you are in the world, but it gives it in this book the readiness, the availability, the price change. Think about that price change, because the more rare something is, the more expensive it is. Not everyone's a Ferengi, but this is pretty much business, right? That's how it works. So you can get all of that done. It depends on where you are for availability and price, right? Okay, so let's look at the difference between cybernetics and bionics. With rare exceptions, cybernetic devices are light mechanical prosthetics, implants, and minor forms of mechanical augmentation. They include prosthetic limbs, internal organs used in medical procedures as replacement/substitutes for natural body parts lost or damaged through injury or disease. There's artificial heart, artificial lungs, artificial liver, artificial eyes. All this stuff is considered cybernetic. It is replacing what was never there, or what was there in the first place, and its main job is to do what the other thing you replaced did. You replace your eyes. You want to see, but better. You replace your heart because it was damaged. Well, now it does everything your heart used to do, but better, right? That's cybernetic. And then we get to bionics. In the world of Rifts, bionics are biomechanical weapons and combat systems. This isn't to keep you alive or to give you functionality you lost. This is new functionality just to screw people up.
So I like that distinction, not because I think it's necessary or it matches real world definitions or whatever, but for game purposes, I like the idea of having that distinction between bionics and cybernetics. It's one of those times where it's like, you and I have talked about recently about, oh, a game will define things one way or another, whether, well or poorly, or at the beginning of the book, or you have to guess whatever. But this definition works for me, whether it matches reality or not.
Oh, it works really well because it makes a demarcation very,
Yes.
very apparent in the book for places where bionic and cybernetic systems are limited,
Hmm.
especially in the coalition states. You are not allowed, unless you're military, you're not getting anything that starts with the word B and ends with ionics. You're not getting it. You don't need it. Whereas other places, they're a little more forthcoming because they need it to just help the place survive. We need as many people with bionic systems. Like, you have a gun pop out of your head, great. You can shoot animals and DBs and demons and all that kind of stuff with it to protect you and your family. Okay. Yeah, all right. That's fine. So, confusion between cybernetic and bionic arises from the fact that bionics are advanced cybernetic systems, biomechanical devices that connect and or replace living body parts with machine parts to make the individual more powerful, faster, stronger, etc. Like medical and commercial cybernetics, these devices are designed to respond to neurological impulses and functions. For example, a bionic replacement arm is likely to have extraordinary strength with a physical strength rating in the 20s, while a cybernetic one seldom exceeds physical strength of 10. This really, again, sets it up that a bionic system is a combat system.
Hmm.
The normal person does not need to be able to lift a car because he doesn't never need to be able to lift a car,
But
right?
you probably do need a second arm in order to do routine
Exactly.
actions in life.
Yes, you need to be able to tie your shoes, right? So I want a second arm. You need to be able to, you know, just like To Kill a Mockingbird, you want one hand for work and one hand for your wife. And the hand for work is the cybernetic system. That's great, right? Awesome. But bionics is for combat. If it's 51% for combat, it's bionic. 100 all the time. Now it's up to the GM whether 49, 45, whatever percent. If most of its utility is in combat, he's going to say it's bionic. But if most of its utility is out of combat, you can easily say it's cybernetic, and then you can adjust the rules accordingly.
Okay.
Now, here's the big thing with both cybernetic and bionic systems. If you are replacing limbs, tongue, jaw, face, uh, groin, whatever, you are not going to have the level of sensory input that your natural limbs or body
Well, then
parts
don't
would
replace
have.
my groin then.
Well, you know what? If you get your groin shot off, I'd rather have one that has, say, sense of touch for bionic system is usually around 20 to 35% normal, with biosystems as high as 56. Number one, if you're going to spend the extra money for more sensation, make it important. All right. Spend that money wisely. But let's say your groin's fine. You're just talking about your hand. Awesome. Great. A cybernetic or bionic system will give you tactile response, but it'll be at a fraction of what your non-bionic or cybernetic hand is. So bear that in mind. A lot of times the game master will give you a skill penalty based off of this lack of tactile response. For example, lock picking. That is almost all tactile. You're feeling the tumblers move into place. Well, if you only feel 25% normal, well, it's going to be harder to pick a lock, right? It's going to be harder. Things like that are going to happen. Be ready for it. And we will now move to the different kinds of cyber and bio systems. The first one is medical, which is on page 30, which is right here. Medical cybernetics. These are, I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm just going to give examples, right?
Okay.
Medical, blood analysis and tox screen. It is a little implant, like a baby version of the juicer's medical system. It will tell you at a moment's notice what exactly is in your blood, if there are any toxins, any foreign elements. If there are, it'll tell you the concentration and lethality, or be able to predictably say how long this stuff will last in your system before your body gets rid of it, stuff like that. It's more informational, but it can come in handy. You could get it. Another one is mechanical cybernetic system. The disadvantage, other than its more obvious artificial nature, is that there is no true sense of touch, only sensors designed to respond to heat and pressure. The lack of touch can be emotionally and mentally debilitating. However, the mechanical substitute is still a marvelous alternative to no limit all. Skill penalty. Here's the skill penalty I was talking about. Minus 15% to skills that require manual dexterity and touch due to lack of full articulation
That's
and
it?
little or no sense of touch. Only -5 for biosystems, because biosystems are kind of like the techno-organic type thing,
I would
right?
have thought that penalty would have been much greater.
You would think, but there is another downside to having the reduced sense of touch,
Well, also
especially for a
it's a
full
game
conversion cyborg.
and it's cinematic.
And it's
So
cinematic, but you're going to get some mental problems. All full Borgs get mental problems because all you are is a brain, brain
now
stem, maybe a little bit of your stomach, and that's probably going to be about it. You are less human than RoboCop, for crying out loud. He had more flesh than you do.
I was fine.
There's going to be some mental problems in there. Let's see what else we got. Cybernetic appendages, prosthetics, and bone. You get a finger replacement, a foot replacement. Now, these are all cybernetics. So if you look at the strength, PS 8 to 10. SDC, this is not mega damage material we're talking about. This is SDC material, because no one needs a mega damage arm if you're just a dude, right? No one needs that. Sorry.
Just a pipe fitter. I don't need to.
Yeah, you don't need that nonsense, right? So you get an SDC for your arm. But to be fair, 2d6 plus 25 for just your arm, that's more than the average person has on their whole body. So, you're still winning. Cybernetic hand and forearm, it gets more and more. It depends on what you lost and where they had to amputate, or where the plasma bolt hit is how much you're going to replace. Now, the only real difference at this point is how much money it's going to cost. Because if you replace your hand or replace your forearm and your hand, well, your tactile function is going to be the same. Your strength is going to be the same between 8 and 10. And the SDC, that's going to vary a little bit up because, there's more metal. So you have a higher SDC total for that side of you. But other than that, it's just amount of money, right?
Yeah, 10,000. I'm sure people have that just laying around.
Just laying about. Yeah, I'm sure they do. Biosystem. Those are biosystems. I'm not going to get into that just yet. Eye replacements, internal organ replacement. Now look at this, 70,000, 50,000, artificial heart. Dude, you need a heart, right? Are you going to quibble about the price? Well, you're not. Maybe your next of kin are, because they're not going to, get as much money from you when you die, because now you're broke.
Or they're going to be paying off the mafia instead of you.
Exactly, right? So, there's that. But if you need a new heart, I don't care if it says $1 billion, you're just going to finance it. I mean, come on. You're going to do whatever you need to do to get that new heart, because you're going to die.
Look,
Same thing with liver or kidney. Lungs, ask John Wayne. You can live with one. You're fine, right?
I wouldn't even quibble about the 70,000 credits, because I saw the bill for my dad's open heart surgery.
Yeah.
It was many times more than that 70,000 credits. So, how much is surgery going to cost on top of that artificial heart? But hey, outside.
Yeah, there it is. So yeah, there is that. Next one we're going to go through is Cosmetic. Universal head jack and ear implant. Universal head jack. If you haven't played Shadowrun, you may not know what this means. Let's read it up. This is a special connector or jack that is built into the skull, usually at the base of the head or behind the ear. A tiny receiver is then inserted into the ear and linked to this head jack. The combination enables characters to plug into audio, sensory, robot, and computer equipment, including most communications equipment, radios, video systems, whatever. The head jack receives transmissions from the device that is plugged into it and transmits them to the tiny receiver inside the ear. Think of it like this. You plug in a surveillance system into your head jack, and the data is changed over into voice, and it talks into your ear. Siri is now telling you what your radar system is seeing. Okay. That sounds good. The only thing better, I guess, would be if you had an eye replacement that actually showed you the actual implant, which I think there is one up in here. Amplified hearing. That's a good one. Yeah. The basic amplified hearing gives you +3 to initiative. That's great. You will like that a lot. What else we have? Surveillance ear. This is an ear accessory that can be combined with a head jack, amplified, or ultra ear, or most bionic and cybernetic ear implants. Surveillance ear can be tuned to listen to a specific hidden listening device, as well as work on something like a stethoscope or parabolic dish, in which the character can press his ear to a wall to hear muffled but relatively clear conversation on the other side. I wouldn't get this. I'd say I put a glass to the door and I listen, and whatever. This is just the higher tech version of a glass. Let's
Sorry,
move
this is
on.
relevant now. I'm putting it up now, not waiting.
Okay,
Siri, what's on the radar screen? I'm sorry, I can't find any rapier screams.
Okay.
Because you know how they're always mistaking what you're trying to say?
Yes. And bionic systems.
Now playing screams.
Though it uses many of the cybernetic principles, Bionics goes far beyond simple replacement of organs and limbs. Bionics is a cybernetic process designed to create super soldiers by removing the majority of the human body and replacing with superior mechanical facsimiles. Again, for combat. Bionics are for combat only. Bionic augmentation is a thing, and you can become an OCC if you get too much of it. All right. Isolated bionic augmentation is the term used when an individual receives minor bionic reconstruction, an internal organ, or a few bionic implants. For example, an individual has one arm replaced with a more powerful bionic hand or arm. Now, this is not your cybernetic arm replacement with a normal strength of 8 to 10. This is a cybernetic arm replacement made of MDC with MDC armor and robotic strength, which means it does MDC damage with crushing, maybe with punching, but it depends on how much more of your body is actually replaced as well. So this is the combat version of that. Just one, you're probably fine. You don't have to change OCCs. You're good. You start getting more than that, well, it gets a little weird. Who can get bionics?
So real quickly, it looks like it is going to, but does the book actually say that it changes, or is that a you rule?
No, that's a book rule. It's going to get
okay.
into it.
Okay, cool.
Only a cyborg OCC can get full bionic conversion replacement of 70 to 90% of their body with bionics. Those who value their humanity are more conservative and elect to do a partial reconstruction, usually a max of four bionic parts or 4 limbs. With weapon systems, bionic reinforcement, and numerous bionic implants that replace 30 to 50% of their body. But that's where they draw the line. That's where they draw the line.
If you're
right?
not doing 90, you're not doing it right.
There you go. The headhunter OCCs are generally considered to be partial cyborgs. However, many headhunters are less than partial borgs with only 1 or 2 bionic limbs and numerous cybernetic and bionic implants. Likewise, many military and other OCCs can get minor implants and prosthetics as needed for medical purposes, but these are considered minor augmentations, and none of the recipients are true partial or full conversion cyborgs. These OCC characters seldom have more than 1 or 2 bionic prosthetics, rarely anything as extreme as a partial reconstructions, and never a full conversion. And that's where they draw the line. In the book, those who value their humanity are more conservative and elect to a partial reconstruction, usually opting for 2 to 4 limbs. If you have more than
4 limbs,
33% of your body, you now must be a headhunter OCC. If you have more than 50 or 70% of your body replaced, you must now be a cyborg or a Borg OCC. Now, the way you change OCC in this game is you just do it. You have all your other skills, but now you start at level 1 in this new OCC. All of that stuff is written in stone. You cannot alter it, make it better, do anything with very few caveats. It's now locked, and you're now advancing in this new OCC forever. Now, is it truly forever? Maybe not, right? I mean, because there are bio replacements that are fully flesh and can be grown and then put on your body. And then if you replace enough metal with actual flesh, you are no longer a bionic.
So if I'm
OCC.
a full conversion board, can you replace that with a stem cell and make me a body?
We can make you a body and transfer your brain to it. Yes. Woo. If you have the money.
Wait, so these people can't do upkeep on computers, but they can do brain transplants?
Well, now, remember, it's been 300 years since the cataclysm. So now they can do it. Now. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Bionics and the supernatural. Magic and cybernetics and bionics, they don't mix. All right. If you are a magic or psychic using character, you will stay away from cybernetic and bionic implants like they're the devil, because they are. Even a single bionic implant will severely inhibit your power as a spellcaster or psionic. And when I say severely, I'm talking, I don't know, all of it? If you get more than one, where is it at? Bionics and cybernetics, other than biosystems, destroys magic and psionic powers. For a supernatural being or creature of magic to submit to bionic alteration is actually to strip itself of its true natural powers, fate worse than death. To these beings, bionics does not represent augmentation, but serious crippling. I believe that one bionic or cybernetic augmentation destroys half of your ISP and PPE, and more than one stops you from using that power, your powers altogether.
Wow.
Altogether. Just done. And if you're a supernatural being who doesn't auto-regenerate and you have some cool power like shape-shifting, guess what? No, you don't. Because if you shapeshift, you're going to shapeshift around your bionic implant. If it was a lung implant or a heart implant or a liver implant or a bionic arm, guess what? It's on the ground now. You turned into a werewolf. Your heart no longer fits, dummy. Think about it. You just killed yourself. Oops. All right. Most human and human-like DBs can get bionic and cybernetic implants. Humans, obviously, 100%. Elves, dwarves, very close to human. They might have some rejection, but for the most part, they can get almost anything as well. The more inhuman you get, the harder and harder it is to put it in. Say,
Prometheans.
Go ahead.
Prometheans,
no. Impossible. Impossible. The wolf race. What are they called?
Wolfen,
there you go. Wolfen and orcs, far enough away from a human to where probably not going to work. Anything more than that is not going to work. It's not going to work. Normal human bionics and cybernetics are just not going to work. Most immortal beings and creatures capable of bioregeneration and or metamorphosis shape changing cannot get cybernetic implants or bionics of any kind. Your body will just reject it, or the moment that you shape change, you're going to die. So no. Switching from one OCC to a bionic OCC. Here's where the game talks about that. Here are all the rules for that. I'm not going to get into it because it basically you have to move to a bionic or cybernetic OCC depending on how many implants you get. That's it. You get too many implants, well, guess what? You're gonna change classes. And this isn't going to be a shock to you. You're going to know. This is going to be a conscious decision. The game master should not surprise you with this. That's dumb. Oh, surprise, you got one implant too many. Now you're a headhunter, or now you're a Borg. No, that's a really bad game master. Don't let him do that. All right. Switching classes is something you have to know about and you have to approve of by getting the implant anyway. Right. So this is the difference between bionics, cybernetics, gave you some example bionics and cybernetics, and what is the main definition of both, since they both seem to be the same thing. Now you know. Not combat, cybernetic, bionic. There it is. So what do we have for questions?
we got a couple here. Let's Travis J. 1975 says Max is a completely different kind of dick. Now, for people
I
who
agree.
don't know the reference to that, before we even started recording this video, we were talking about me not being a dick like that. And then, I had to start that one.
Just a different flavor of ass.
Different gross. Bill H says, what would you make that roll to install a cyber heart?
Okay. Now there is this book also gets into surgery and surviving the surgery. If you are a human, for the most part, you're probably going to survive. It's very low chance of rejection or failure unless you have some kind of idiot cyberdoc doing it for you. It's like, it's my first day. I didn't clean the equipment exactly like the instruction said, but it'll be fine. You leave at that point. I'm like, no, I'm good. As long as you do that, you're okay.
You walk in there, it looks more like a butcher's office, or a butchery than
I mean, it's the exact same thing as if you go to a restaurant, you're going to have a function at that restaurant. You ask to see the kitchen right after they're done making the food. It should still be clean. Then they got the hygiene on point. And your guests who you're inviting to eat here are not going to be on the toilet for 24 hours. So you want to do the same thing to your cyberdoc. If you look at his lab and it's all got blood stains everywhere and viscera stuck in the light fixture up there because he can't reach it.
Someone will get that.
Get out.
He's got a broom up there, cobwebs.
Exactly. Just get out. Get out. Other than that, you should be fine.
Okay, but ultimately, it's unless this book says something different, it would be what, a medical doctor role to then would it just be one role, right?
Cyberdoc skill plus or minus some bonuses and situations and whatever. But under normal circumstances, unrushed, purely relaxed medical environment, you're probably going to be okay. As a matter of fact, a lot of GMs, unless there is a reason, they hand wave it. You got the money. He's reputable. This is legal. Hand wave it. Just do it. I recommend that.
And so if your arm is MDC and you punch something, is your shoulder going to take MDC damage from the recoil?
There's a good question. No, but I would not allow you to punch with mega damage force because everyone knows most of the punch does not come from your arm. It comes from your entire body. And if you use your arm as a mega damage source and you involve your entire body and the rest of your body is flesh, whoops. You just ripped your arm off from your torso. Now, the only surefire mega damage thing you can do with your arm is crushing force. If you have at least a hand or more, you have crushing force that does mega damage. Awesome. That's great. But if you want to punch with mega damage, you also have to get some spinal stuff, some hip stuff maybe. It's up to the game master, but you need more than just starting at your shoulder. You're going to need some upgrade to your basic frame to handle that kind of explosive damage.
This is the one time where Heathen Dog's the dick and I'm not. Because
you wouldn't care.
No, I because I look at the game as being cinematic and I don't want to worry about that. Now, there are some times when, look, just because you have a PS24 strength, robotic strength arm doesn't mean you're lifting a car. There are some things you wouldn't be able to. Now, maybe you'd be able to lift it up to save somebody, but you're not taking it over your head and hulking out with that thing just because your one arm can do that. No, that'd flatten you. But to do a mega damage punch, if that's what comes with having that arm, I would let you do that again for the purpose of it just being a cinematic game and for ease. I don't think that Heathen Dog's wrong because I want to give that answer, but I also don't want to go, well, you have to have 9 struts that come. I just don't want to deal with that. So
I get it. Now, to be fair, Palladium does have a precedent for this. In Heroes Unlimited, if you want to be the cybernetic hero and you want to actually do the increased damage with your artificial limb, you need structural support throughout your entire body. It clearly states it. Okay. So there is precedent for that in Palladium.
It's fair enough.
So there you go. What else we got?
Nope, that was it. But that does show that the game is flexible enough to handle how you want to run it. If you like the Heathen Dog method, go with him. If you like mine, go with mine. The game isn't going to put everything out there and stop flipping through. Well, I can't find where it says. Well, then you don't have to have the framework is there. You figure out the rest.
Yep. So in the next video, we are going to talk about the refreshed OCCs. There's no new OCs here. There's refresh ones. City Rat, Cyberdoc, and Borg are the ones I'm going to focus on.